Well, hello everybody. So nice to see you again. So sorry it's been a while since I've been back, but I wanted to read a story for you. Before I read my story, I just want to say that I was watching a few videos on Mr. Rogers and the awards and things that he was winning and stuff later in life for his good work. But I don't believe that he did all of that work to get all these awards. He just really cared about humanity and children and adults and everybody, really. Just wanted to make our life a little more sunny and happy and make us feel less alone. Anyways, I wanted to share that with you. So, I was trying to figure out what story I'd like to read for you tonight. One of my favorite things, well, I love ballerinas. I bought this vintage tutu, and a lot of times we're told that, we have to look a certain way or look like everybody else, and I don't see a whole lot of individuality anymore. I want to encourage everybody to be more like themselves, even if that's what you have to be when you're at home, or, maybe with your friends. I encourage you to try and do that. So, because we all like different things. I like tutus, I like bows in my hair. I found these glasses in a repurpose center and they didn't have any lenses in them, and I took them to my eye doctor place where they sell eyeglasses and they put prescription lenses in them. And so I don't know, you can find things that make you happy and then make it your own. You can cut clothes and make it your own. You can put all kinds of things in your hair or wear a pretty purse, whatever you like. Anyway, I bought this book a really long time ago, and for some reason, I'm wondering why I can't get it out. But I think we're gonna have to maybe do. If I got the books in, I should be able to get them out. Don't you think? I think so. I had to pull out a few books in order to get this out. That's okay. We've got lots of time, don't we? Hey, we've got all the time in the world. There we go. So this actually comes with a CD, which is kind of cool. I thought it was cool. But it's called Fairy Collection, including a CD. And when I bought this, I was always in love with fairies, probably my whole life. I don't know. They just seem so friendly and nice and kind. I saw a few fairy movies where the fairies weren't all kind, and sometimes in the stories or in the books. This was given to somebody in 2004. Her name was Stephanie Ann. And there's X's and O's, and love Lori and Paige and Steve and Catherine. Love always and forever, and there's 3 hearts put in there, and somebody gave it away. So I could find the book, I guess, and to be able to cherish that. Well, I'm going to read you the first story, and it's called, it says, let's see if we can find the story. It says, this is the Enchanting Picture Books of the bestseller author, illustrator Shirley Barber, are loved by children around the world. After growing up in the Channel Islands, she and her family came to Australia. Her books, with their exquisite illustrations of fairy folk and woodland creatures, have been delighting children and parents alike for more than a decade. Let's go bedtime stories. The Royal Jewelers, it says. Wow. Let's read and see what it says. Under the hedge by a big green field stood a tiny shop called Edwin Beetle and Son Jewelers. If you knelt down and peered through the window, you could see Mr. Beetle and his son Benny working in the shop while Mrs. Beetle cooked the meals and looked after weeny baby Beetle asleep in his nutshell cradle. The Beetles lived very comfortably until one day a huge red tractor started to plow up the green field beside their shop. The Beetles, terrified, packed up the few things they could carry and fled till they reached the forests of Fairyland. "If we aren't safe living in Fairyland," said Mrs. Beetle firmly, "well, I don't know where we can go. Indeed, I don't." So, among the twisted roots of a large tree, they set up their tiny new shop with their home behind it. There she is. Seems to be a glare. Here. See what happens next. Well, at first, very few customers stopped to look at the necklaces and rings. Mr. Beetle would sadly shake his head, remembering the nice shop at home he had once had. Nothing would ever be the same again, he thought. Then, one day, a beautiful golden fairy stopped and looked at the tiny shop in surprise. She knelt down so she could see better, and Mr. Beetle and Benny proudly showed her their finest jewelry. "These are wonderfully made," said the golden fairy. "Your work is so fine. May I take 3 necklaces to show the Fairy Queen?" Mr. Beetle made haste to wrap the necklaces in flower petals, tying them into neat parcels with grass blades, and gave them to the fairy. The next day the golden fairy reappeared. "Mr. Beetle, the queen loves your necklaces and she wants to buy all 3, she said, smiling. "She offers you 3 wishes in payment, and she would also like to order a very special tiara with a matching necklace and bracelet, to be made in gold and many-colored precious gems." Mr. Beetle was at first delighted, but then he became anxious. Where could he get all the gold and different colored jewels he would need for such an order? "Dearie me," chuckled Mrs. Beetle, "you've got 3 wishes, haven't you? Wish first for a gold and jewel mine deep beneath this tree. Second, for a lovely new shop that's big enough to live into. And third, for a food cupboard that's filled up again after you've taken things out." So that's what he did. Now a quaint little shop stands among the twisted tree roots. Inside, Mr. Beetle is always busy at his workbench, while Mrs. Beetle looks after Baby Beetle and cooks such delicious treats that there is nearly always a visitor dropping in for a chat and a slice of freshly baked cake. And every time Mr. Beetle needs another diamond or an emerald or a gold nugget, Benny nips down the tunnel to the mine below. Yum, yum. Whenever anyone is sad about their life, Mrs. Beetle simply smiles and says, "Never give up hope. Look at us. We lost everything. Then overnight things changed, and here we are better off than we ever were before." Well, what a nice lesson, isn't it? A very nice lesson indeed. Well, that's nice. All right, we can put the book down. So, would you like to meet my princess? Her name is, I was told, Rapunzel. Say hello to everybody, Rapunzel. Hello. What would you like to say to everybody today, Rapunzel? I want to say that I am so happy to see you, and I am so glad that you are here to listen to Julie's story because when she was a little girl, she didn't read very much because she was sad all the time, and she never had anybody teach her really how to read. And she never had time to read because she was too busy being bullied. So, that's sad, isn't it? Yeah, but it's never too late to read stories. Well, you're right. You want to introduce your friend? This little puppy, I found this little puppy. I did at the store. And I'm going to call this puppy's name Ruffles. Ruff, ruff, ruff. Hi, Ruffles. Do you have a tail, Ruffles? Ruff, ruff, ruff. Ruffles is wagging his tail. How do you know, children, if it's okay to approach a dog? You know first by their tail. If their tail is not wagging and they're growling, then that means stay away and don't pet them unless an owner says it's okay. Well, I would always ask an owner if it's okay to pet their puppy because they know their puppy the very best. But if you see a puppy wagging their tail and they come up to you, you put your hand out first so they can sniff your hand. And then after that, you'll know if the puppy's friendly or not. Usually you can tell by the waggy tail. Isn't that right, Rapunzel? Uh-huh, that's right. This is my puppy, and my puppy's name is Ruffles. Ruffles? A Rumpelstiltskin. His name's Rumpelstiltskin. This is Rumpelstiltskin. I like Ruffles. Ruffles is my friend. Did you know that your friend doesn't always have to be a person? It can be a puppy or a kitty or even a fish. Really? Sometimes, if you have parents that don't want pets in the house, you can adopt a pet that you see outside. Maybe there'll be a bird that comes on your tree or a bunny rabbit that hops by or comes to visit your house once in a while. You can call that animal a name, and that can be somebody that you can call your own too. I even would say that you could have a bug for your very own if you wanted that too. And I used to put bugs in a little cage and I'd give them food and then I'd set them free. Would you do something like that, Rapunzel? Well, bugs make me a little bit squeamish, and make me feel a little worried. But and the more legs they have, the more scary they are. Well, sometimes they need lots of legs in order to climb walls. Maybe that's why they have them. Oh, and they're made just different, just like everybody else on this earth, so they don't look like us. Sometimes things can be scary. Yeah, well, that's true. Well, this is my puppy, Ruffles. Ruffles wants a treat now, so Ruffles wants to go and play. Say bye, Ruffles. Okay, Ruffles will go bye-bye now. Bye-bye, Ruffles. And would you like to sing a song for everybody, Rapunzel, before we go? Okay. But first, what did you learn today? Well, it was a very nice story. I learned that maybe fairies really do exist. Even if we want to believe in them, anything that we believe can be real if we want it to be. Yes, that's right. But they say in Ireland, real fairies are like tiny little bugs with little human bodies, and they actually really do exist, even to this day. If you go to a little place in Ireland, probably a place that says the word fairies in it, if you look. Oh, yay! I like that. But you probably can't hear them speaking because their voices are so little bitty tiny, because they're so tiny that you won't even be able to tell what their words are. And maybe they speak a language, fairy language, all of their very own. But I know that they pray for us every single day because they love us. We're like big giants to them, and they're like little bugs to us. But even little bugs have families too, and children and babies, and there's mummy bugs and daddy bugs too. So we don't have to like every creature that walks this earth, but we have to at least try to respect that they have a right to be alive just like we do. And that a lot of times we can save them and set them free if they get into our house or in a place that we don't want them to be. What do you think of that idea? Well, I think that if my mommy and daddy might help, that would be easier. Sometimes mummies and daddies don't like to touch bugs. They still don't, ever since even when they were just very little. You know, they were taught to splat them or spray on them or step on them. But I don't think that's very nice. I think if you can save a bug, I think you should save a bug. I use a water bottle all the time to save spiders, because they crawl into the bottle. You close the lid, they get a little bit of, well, you make sure there's no water in it at all, and then you take the lid and open it and set it down, and they can go free. And you can save all kinds of bugs that way. And I think that it's really neat to see how every creature lives in this world. We have to love and respect and take care of all of them, because they're all here for a reason too. I didn't know that. All right, Rapunzel, did you like your story today? I do. I like fairies very, very, very much. But I was sad when they had to move because of that big tractor thing. And then they had to go to a whole other place and start all over again and make new friends. I know, sometimes it's scary to make new friends. But then sometimes you never know, you might meet your best friend. And maybe you won't meet your best friend right away, but you have a whole lifetime to wait to meet that very best friend. You never know who's going to come into your world tomorrow. So you always have to be open-minded and ready to see what happens next. So thank you for hanging out with me, Rapunzel. And you can show off your beautiful hair in the back. Very pretty. I hope you have a very nice day. You too, everybody. Bye-bye. Bye-bye-bye. Don't forget to put flowers in your hair and to be pretty if you want to, because you're all very, very special to me and you're all my friend. All right, let's all blow kisses. Bye, everybody. Until next time, be good and remember, you matter.